SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Let us start this lecture with a thought process. Towns in modern India should be built with the aura of ancient Indian village. Sustainability is today is a buzzword, but it was prevailed in ancient Indian village. So, therefore, we should have that, and we will let us recall that what we had learned in the last lecture. We basically looked at rural housing, and of course, before that about agriculture and textile, and today we will be talking about the urban housings and town planning in ancient India. And let us look at what are the problems with the modern town planning and buildings, and we can look at whether we can get some solution from this ancient Indian town planning or not. So, as we know that it is very difficult nowadays to keep the temperature in the house a comfortable level. So, for maintaining the internal temperature and also humidity, we will have to use mechanical cooling and heating system, for which we will have to use a lot of energy in modern buildings. Beside this, wastewater management is a big hassle in a modern town. So, also we do not have greenery, means where we can store these grains, and of course, most of modern and complex life we are living. Actually, if you look at, we are living a very complex life in modern days. As a result, we have higher level of carbon footprints, and road safety is a big problem, particularly in India, where around 400 or more people are dying per minute in this country due to road accident. And criminal activities going on at an alarming rate in this place, and so also management of crime is a very big challenging problem in modern days. So, what are the crises of sustainability? If you look at, global warming is a thing what we feel every now and then, and beside this we are encountering the environmental pollution, over exploitation and utilization of natural resources. As a result, there is a depletion of natural resources and so also fossil fuel. So, therefore, it is very important to have a town planning, and we will see why we need to have proper town planning, so that we can lead a very good life, because the town planning depends on topography, ecology of land, and the needs of the society, not the greeds of society or greeds of certain people, market forces, which we are now what we call encountering, and governing body and cultural heritage, that is important. But today most of the towns are being established and without much planning, it is just going on, particularly in this country. And we are not taking care of neither the ecology nor the our cultural heritage and other things. So, indigenous town planning might have started much before in Indus Valley civilization, what we are calling nowadays Saraswati river civilization, which was around 2300 to 1500 BC, covering an area of 1.25 million square kilometers. It is a very big area. And of course, after demise of Indus Valley civilization, there was a second phase of town planning in ancient India around 600 BC, which is quite evident in literary works and that is merged with the modern town planning, because there is a going on till today. And of course, in modern time we are just taking the ideas from the western countries and then implementing without thinking. And the research work reveals that second phase of town planning was neither a part of earlier phase. Earlier phase, I mean basically the Indus Valley civilization, nor the revival of it, nor it was imported from outside, unlike in modern time. It is basically was developed indigenously, which was evolved for ages together. And if you look at for both first and second phase of ancient town planning, the archaeological evidence are present in plenty to establish that those are quite good and also what you call indigenous in nature. And Indus Valley civilization, if you look at, it was basically in these areas. These are the rivers, Indus rivers, and then Ravi rivers, and there is a Ghaggar river which is dried almost. And these are the spot, if you look at this yellow color spots like Rakhi, Ghari, Kalibangan, Harappa, and then your the Kot Diji and Mohenjo-daro, Mehergarh and Dholabira, and there are several other places where you can have this Indus Valley civilizations. You know, this region, if you look at, this is the region, what I am saying, it goes to some other portion of Haryana also, present day Haryana. There is a place known as Rupar region. This region belongs to that what we call Indus Valley civilization. And nowadays we call it Saraswati Sindhu civilization, as I mentioned earlier. And this civilization was located around Indus river, as I told, and Ghaggar, Pakistan, and also northwestern India. And if you look at this 1.25 million square kilometer is basically north side, it is in Ropar. In present day it is called Ropar in Haryana, and earlier name was Rupar, and which is not shown in this map. And south the Bhagatrav, which is in Gujarat somewhere, which is also not shown here in this figure, and Alamgirpur UP, which is near Meerut, this place. And in the western side, this is Sutakaj and Dor, which will be nearby this place, Sutakaj and Dor. So, it was a quite a big area where these civilizations were there as per the excavation by Archaeological Survey of India. And town planning concept, if you look at, it is basically in various, if you look at the excavation of large number of cities, namely Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lodhal, Kalibangan, etc., basically belong to the Indus Valley civilization. And this, if you look at it, is having uniformity in their layout. That means there was a basically a planned town planning, and this clearly indicates that these cities were built with proper design and architecture with the following factors. These factors are basically, if you look at the topology and ecology of area being riverine civilization. Of course, most of the earlier civilization were riverine, means by the side of river, and unlike in modern time, and rectangular area with proper orientation with proper cardinal points. That means there will be a point around which the cities will be growing, and dwelling place cities according to social status, of course not all the places, but in some places, and grid iron system of laying out streets cutting each other at the right angles. And today if you see that, you will not find that kind of thing. And adequate system of water supply through well and tanks extra, because water is very important for life. So, therefore, always provision were being made for the water. An improvised system of fortification for defense and prevention of floods, and high level of sanitation and underground drainage systems you could find in the excavation sites of Indus Valley civilization, and specially of their town planning, and it was basically sophisticated and advanced urban culture, and it is claimed that the Indus Valley civilization was having the world's first sanitation system. Individual wells and separate covered the drainage over the street for wastewater, and today we see that there are several drains we do not have really cover in our country at this moment. And houses open to inner courtyards and smaller lanes, so that you can really go and then do that, and impressive dockyards, granaries and warehouses and brick platforms and protective walls, and massive citadels were available at that time to protect the city from floods and attackers. All houses had access to water and drainage facilities, and beside this, it is believed that city planning might have taken place through certain government agency, as it calls for elaborate organized work, because the city was planned in a very organized manner. Therefore, some body should be there to have that city planning. And if the city was really being planned and developed, then naturally there will be large number of experienced people like architecture, designer, masoner, carpenters, plumbers and labor extra must be there. That means there is a system which was prevailed at that time. And light geometrical and surveying instrument were found in these cities during excavations, like what I have shown here, like this is a compass kind of things, and these are some balance systems, and of course, the threads, and there is a kind of a stand for this thing for putting this balance for surveying purposes. This instrument can be used for surveying and also labeling purposes. So, Indus Valley civilization, if you look at, there is a development of cities. It is believed that cities grew out of villages that existed in the same locality, maybe for around 100 years, and it grew in its size and density that might be surrounded by several small towns and big villages. The cities might have interlinked by trade and commercial activities and social relations extra, and large land areas for agriculture, rivers, forest and rural communities were surrounding the east city. That means that this agriculture and rivers and also forest, at that time forest used to give the products which will be useful for the day to day life, and which is a part of their city, particularly outskirts kind of things maybe, and which is the need of the hour also. Like that means the east city should be self sustainable, and we can learn from this. And if you look at classification of towns, the small villages or hamlets around 0 to around something 10 hectares, and large town 10 to 15 hectares, and cities around 50 hectares, and 1 hectares around something 10,000 meters square. And if you look at these are the cities which were there in Indus Valley civilization, that Mohenjo-daro is around 200 hectares in size, and people were around something 35 to 45,000 people were living, this estimation, and Harappa was 150 hectare in size, 23,500 people were living at that time. And similarly, all others, of course, the Rakhigari and then Ganevarla around 80 hectares in size. Of course, Dholavira was a little larger, around 100 size, and Rehman Dehri is a smaller, you can say it is a town kind of things, which is something 12,000 people were living. So, these are of course, size based on that they have come up with some population, I mean like kind of things. So, what we will be doing, we will be basically looking at Harappa civilization and topology kind of things. If you look at the Harappa, is basically nearby this place, which is Ravi, by the side of Ravi river, and it is extended over a circuit of 6 kilometer on the left bank of river Ravi in Punjab province of Pakistan. Pakistan, of course, the new name today, earlier it was a part of India, and around 23,000 people were living in that area, and city might had been developed earlier during the Côte d'Ivoire phase, maybe 2800 to 2500 BC. And earliest city coverage of an area of 25 hectare, later on it might have grown to the larger in size, and it became a center for trade networks extending to Baluchistan and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is here in this region, it might have spread, and west sea coast in the south, and towns were built over the raised mud brick platforms, and the high mound at Harappa is surrounded by a massive mud brick city wall with a large square ramparts. And of course, these are the things what people could see even today, and because the remainings are there, and today of course that you can see that other things like the tomb of Muslim saint, you can today see that, because after that people have used that portion also. So, if you look at this is the what you call excavated layout, what people got in that region, you can see that is the area, mound area, they have classified in various areas. There is a fortification here, and there is a Harappan well in this region. Of course, later on people might have built this mosque later on at the tomb, and this region is basically Ravi and Koti Ziv, and there is a circular platform here, and this we call is a Mount F, which is granary and for storage space for the grains, and this is the this area is basically might be the place where king or the administrator might be staying in this region, and this is the Harappan town, and this is the your river Ravi, and of course, now it is a dry bed. And if you look at people got also some pottery cleans here, evidence of pottery clean, and they are thinking that Mound E is the craft areas, and there is a cemetery in these regions, and of course, there is a perimeter wall, various walls they could, remnants of the wall they could see from various regions, and I mean they have excavated these regions and they have located several remainings of the structures. So, if you look at this Harappan town planning had a citadel mount with a square towers and bastions, and lower town, as I told or as I had shown you earlier, that surrounded by massive brick walls, and it has large open areas inside gateways which might have used as a market or checkpoints for taxing goods coming into the city. These are all hypotheses or a kind of things what people have made, and it had clusters of houses outside the city walls which might have used for temporary rest stops for traveler or caravans. If you look at basic house plans, is a single room tenements and houses with courtyards. Even if you look at when we discuss about rural housing, courtyards were earlier a part of rural housing, and houses if rooms on 3 sides opening into a central courtyard. Nearly all large houses had a private wells. That means, if it is a large house, the person must be rich. So, therefore, he is having their personal well for water. and people found also the hearths like maybe brick or stone lined fireplace, which was might be used for the cooking purposes, or people say that it is for the pujas also, for yajnas, and for maybe another things will be heating. And it was common in every rooms, and bathroom in every house with chutes leading to the drainage channels. That means the water will be going out to the channels for drainage. And first floor of bathrooms were also built, that means bathrooms were also built on the first floor, and there is a brick staircase was provided access to the upper floors, because there is a two-storied houses what people are conjectured, and houses built with perimeter wall and adjacent house were separated by a narrow space of land. Unlike today, all our houses are joined together in most of places, and granary with the areas of threshing grains, which you will see as we go along, see some of the pictures. Burnt bricks mainly were used for drains and wells and bathroom, while sun dried bricks were used mainly for fillings. Timbers were used for flat roofs, like I had shown you earlier, that culture of having flat roofs with the timber and mud might be there at that time, and which is still there today in this country, particularly in rural areas. Harappan architectures, if you look at the building materials wise, they were using mud bricks, baked bricks. Mud means basically is a dry, sun dried bricks, and wood and reeds. Average size of bricks were found to be 7 into 12 into 34 centimeter. 7 will be height, and then this is the width, and this is the length, 34 centimeter. 10 into 20 into 40 centimeter for city walls, and larger bricks have also standard ratio of 1:2 into 4. So, if you look at this, is the ratio is 1:2:4, and mud bricks, baked bricks and wood or stone were used for the foundation of walls of the houses. Doors, windows were made from the wood and mat. House floor were made out of hard packed earth or the soil basically, and even in rural areas we do use today, particularly for the in the houses of poor man. For bathing areas and drains, the baked bricks and stones were used. Roofs with wooden beams covered with the reeds and packed clay, as I told that it was being used earlier days. Largest building made entirely out of wood, what people are anticipating. I am really concerned whether how could they say this, because wood might not be there. Okay. And windows, the shutters or the lattice work are being used. Architectures for the large public structures, if you look at, large buildings were meant for administrative and ritual purposes, and access routes are provided throughout from one area to another, and market and public meetings were held in large open courtyards. Houses and public buildings were grouped with shared wall and formed larger blocks and were accessed by wide streets. And most houses, as I had mentioned earlier, had private baths and toilets as well as the private wells. Let us look at the granary. If you look at granary of Harappa is found in Mount F, as I had shown you earlier, and it is a brick structure that was built on a massive brick foundation over 45 meters north south and 45 meters east west. If you look at, this is the north south kind region, 45 meter this side and 45 meter this side, which is not shown, and which is a quite a huge structure wise. 2 rows of 6 rooms that appear to be the foundations, these are shown like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are all rooms of which will be 7 meter wide. I will show in the next maybe figure, partly paved with the baked bricks. If you look at this two rows of, there is a one rows of 6 rooms, this is one rows and there is another rows here, right, 6 rooms, 6, 6, 12 rooms are there, and in between there is a road, this is the road which is around 7 meters wide apart and which was paved with the baked bricks. Each room measures around 15.2 meter length. This house will be around something 15.2 meters and 6.2 meter width kind of things. And of course, it has 3 sleeper walls with air space between them. If you look at, this is the one wall here, the other wall is here and the other wall is here. This space will be for the air, or this is known as the air space. So, if you look at question arises, why this air space being provided at that time? Maybe for what you call maintaining the temperature, as it is a granary, maybe temperature will be affecting the quality of the grain being stored. So, therefore, it might be given, and this can also be utilized even modern days, and more research is required for that. So, with this I will stop over here, and thank you very much, and then we will discuss more things next.